Welcome back to the SMITE Console League. Finch here, joined by Anatoly yet again as we transition over to PS4 North America. Specifically, we're going to be looking at Nemesis going up against Cyclone.
The number 1 versus the number 2 team, still undefeated, is Nemesis. Yes. And if you're just tuning in and don't know who this team is, formerly known as Shrimp Gang.
That's right. It's still that same old Shrimp Gang, just, with a bit of a better look now, so no big surprise there. Let's get those standings up on the screen. Nemesis are 8-0 at this point. I think they've only lost 3 individual games,
right.
2 inside of those matches, so really 16-3, I think is how you would really want to look at that one. But Cyclone are right there behind them at 4-4, their best competition, because so far, they've been far and away the best.
No surprise that Nemesis is at the top with their roster. Niquid, solo lane, Jumpah in the jungle, XCovi mid lane, mattkoiz support, Zaxy in that hunter position.
Yeah.
Team that has plenty of console experience.
Yes, I imagine that this will be a team that is still plenty good at this point, right?
Yeah.
I mean, and they're living up to the expectations. I think that really, I can say that maybe they aren't, because this team is so much better than everyone else, at least in terms of experience and how long they've been around, that their aspirations should be focused on MSI. They should be looking towards midseason invitational and how well they can compete with some of the other console teams, and honestly, some of those other SML teams too, because that's who they're playing up against. So in these matchups, I'm expecting them to be able to win them cleanly, and to be honest, I haven't always seen that.
They have been consistent for the most part. Some games were a little sloppy towards the end, but if there's ever a time to start, trying to experiment or trying to figure out what's going to work in the LAN environment, now wouldn't be a bad idea to try to experiment.
No, not at all. To at least try and see, what kind of stuff maybe they can take in that might catch some other people off guard. Though, to be honest, Cyclone is a tough customer, so maybe they've got to make sure they're at least bringing their A game and what works, because you don't want to end up slipping. Though at this point, I think it's very likely that they'll be the ones that go, even if they were to lose out. It'd be very difficult for them to lose that number 1 spot at this point. I don't expect Cyclone to do anything close to losing out for what it's worth, or this new Nemesis roster do anything close to losing out. But I mean, they're just a strong squad now. I don't know what more you want me to say at every level. I've really been impressed these last 2 weeks with mattkoiz as well. I think he's elevated his play for this team.
He's been able to switch it up between the aggressive the aggressive assassins to the defensive guardians that he's known for. Jumpah has been just on fire with the early aggression. He's been able to snowball not only his own lead, but translate that to his team's success with the objective control, and expect to see Jumpah playing more of these early game focused junglers.
No, I would not be surprised at all. I think we've seen Pele and Thanatos, gods that like to get that snowball rolling early, if you know what I mean. Their opponents this time, though, are not going to make that easy. They're going to be looking at Cyclone across the way. And you said it already, this is the second place team. They're sitting at 4-4, so certainly not anything to shake a stick at, but it's mostly been beating, Benedict's Cavalry and Big Money, those 2 teams at the bottom. Certainly not so far able to take down Nemesis. So Nemesis are the favorites, but I think Cyclone can still make some noise.
Something that Nemesis has to worry about is YarBadKid's jungle presence, specifically the Ao Kwong from time to time. This late hyper game carry god cannot be denied.
No, not at all. And you can see that that's another thing that Cyclone's had is some trouble maybe keeping this roster 100%. At least from what I was able to see here, looking at this check-ins, there might be some differences with this team from what we saw normally. YarBadKid and Jabami still on here, but I'm seeing Joe from the gym listed here, Overgrown listed in the mid lane from them too. So if they aren't able to have that same roster as normal, especially against a big opponent, they could be in some trouble.
Cyclone's still going to be playing Spoiler up against the likes of Nemesis. That is pretty much guaranteed in the midseason invitational. It's all about how they can find their identity for the future split.
Exactly right. Cyclone is trying to see how do they get that much closer to actually challenging, not Shrimp Gang anymore, Nemesis for that number 1 spot once they move into that second phase, the one that leads you to Worlds. But again, we might be getting too far ahead of ourselves. Let's look at right here and now in the picks and bans for game number 1. Nemesis will be in that first pick spot this time here in this game as well, going against Cyclone. And last game, or last couple of sets, we've seen some JabamiChips and some Merlins making it through. That was more some set 1 nonsense. In set 2, we saw that a little bit more corrected. Though to be fair to them, in set 1, the King Arthur is not allowed right now, so that's one that they can't pick for themselves. Again, doesn't excuse some of the other stuff that we saw. Sure. But at the very least, they could not have picked or banned King Arthur.
Yeah, that was our bad on set number 1. Do you want to do the picks prediction the same way FDOT did the last set?
How did he do them?
He was just actually predicting them.
Oh, just that's what he was doing?
Yeah, he was and then he dropped the name. Nah.
Okay. We can just talk about the picks.
Fair enough.
JabamiChip's been banned here by Nemesis along with the Merlin, and those aren't too big of a surprise. Jormungandr has made his way up there as well into being worth banned, so Achilles Look at that. There's no need to. There's no need to try and predict them. You know, they're going to come through too fast. These guys are too good for us.
Well, what about this next pick? Who do you think?
Oh, what's going to be first pick tier? Fafnir.
You think Fafnir? I would guess Nemesis, Naja.
Naja's not a bad pick either.
Yeah.
Naja, can we take him? I don't step to Tolly. That's why he makes the big gems, man. I don't step to Tolly.
I have helpful analysis.
That's right. We appreciate it. Tolly, who do you think's going to win this game? The winner or... You feel differently from me. Bellona comes through next. Another pick that certainly is valued when Achilles is off the table and obviously King Arthur not available to be selected. So really the premier solo laner that's left and a lot of the circles that are left here too. The Zeus going to go along with that. So a nice stun, an area where they want to fight, and then an area where Nemesis are not going to want to be once that lightning storm gets dropped as well. So this could potentially be scary.
I don't like the Zeus pick this early. It allows Nemesis to go for the Robin if they really want to. Jumpah can play anything he wants, honestly, but you would want something that could peel for itself if it gets in trouble, not just peel in the form of damage. If you're looking for space control, you have options of Zeus and Outwash, maybe Jean-Qui, so you don't have to go for one of these guys this early in the draft.
Baron Samedi now selected. I'm glad we stopped predicting because I would never have said that. Baron Samedi comes through. And I wonder where we're going to see this guy put. And there's a chance that we could see this for Covi in the middle lane here, right? I mean,
true.
It certainly could be put there. I think it's thought of as strongest in the solo lane where it's less likely to get ganked and punished. It can farm up and kind of come in bruisery. But I've seen some people saying that Baron does good damage in mid too.
He does. I almost want to see mattkoiz play this in the support position, trying to expand his god pool a little bit more. I haven't seen Baron from him probably ever. I can't recall. I can't recall if he ever has, but it would be nice for him to try to get that under his arsenal, so that way he can show his opposition that he could bring that in a LAN environment.
Exactly. Try and keep them a little bit nervous about just how wide that god pool is when they play up against him. As Ganesha comes through, this can be another strong pick to try and create some space. This Ganesha has really kind of risen lately. To be honest, I'm a bit surprised by it. There was a period there where Ganesha was getting a hard rap that he doesn't do a whole lot, but he's come back into favor, I feel like, in the meta. He with the silence and the Darming Pillars, he's been valued.
Cyclone GG are employing the Luminosity gaming strategy of the Zeus Ganesha. That's worked out for them in the SPL for 2 games, not in the specific set, but like one game in one set, one game in a different one, where that space control between the Darming Pillars and the Lightning Storm, it does a lot of damage. It's hard to really get in and out of that because of the slow between the pillars. It makes it tricky for Nemesis to find a way around it. They're going to need maybe a Habwa for slow immunity or maybe more sprints than they would have wanted to.
Right, that might help them get away from some of the extra damage. As it looks like Cyclone still aren't sure where this is all going. The Bacchus and the Erlong Shen being banned, that feels to me like they're trying to kind of spread around. They're not entirely sure what it is that Nemesis is doing with these picks. Though this should clear things up a bit. The Baron likely not going in mid anymore, not now that Kukulkan has been selected, something Covi likes to play. And then the Mercury should be able to slide right into the jungle.
So that means, all right, if it's Mercury jungle with Baron and a Naja, so it's probably Naja support then with the Baron in the solo lane.
I think so too, based on now that we're able to see this whole draft come together. So it can be strong. The question is, how well can this Baron, if it is him in solo lane, stand up against this Bellona? Bellona can pressure out other warriors a lot of the time in that lane, so things can't be easy for Baron.
Not in the early laning phase, but once you get the level 8, 9 marker, you get more points in your heal, you're going to get that Breastplate of Valor. Baron can hold his own against Bellona, but the problem is surviving the early game ganks. Susano locked in last for Cyclone GG. You know they're going to be leaning on that Baron in the solo.
Yeah, Susano is one that can come over and definitely punish and pull him out of position, and Bellona can potentially have a good time. We'll end up seeing, though, how it all ends up working in practice. Hey, what if I do like what they did? And just one word here, Tolly, who do you think's going to win this?
Nemesis.
Nemesis has a good chance. Let's go ahead and move into this game here. It's going to be Nemesis going up against Cyclo. Hindu and Tom, go ahead and take this from us.
Yeah, it's us, and we're going to roast the desk.
Are we? Well, I don't know. I was going to say that's the best piece of analytical information Anatoly's given me in 2.5 seasons, so... And Fish did okay, too. I don't roast. I just say as it is. These comps, though, from Nemesis this game.
You know why?
Kukulkan?
Because you're so savage.
I am. I'm just too much for everybody.
Oh, wait, Frenzy.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is an interesting start. We're actually seeing a little bit of a proxy farm here because the players are going to go all the way around and look for the kills behind the tier 2 tower. What this does is back in the regular wave, the minions are going to push up all the way into the tower. But what does Nemesis get off of that?
It's more what YarBadKid does next. Does he go for his red to try and defend it, or does he go for the camps and the blue buff on the right-hand side? It feels like that's going to be the case. Nemesis are going to surrender on this left-hand side. Take everything on the left-hand side, and Cyclone going to have to give it up.
Yeah, it's going to be a little bit rough there for them as they start things up. But Nemesis's proxy farm is going to result in a purple buff invade. Nice look there. And they're going to look for a kill as well.
Is this more to do with what does SpeedBufff know regarding the timers and how long he's going to be? You always want to go in for that basic attack, and then you're going to get punished for it too. Use the minion wave. This is wise. Try and buy some time for a rotation. Not that sort of rotation.
A third person. Oh, man. Jumpah coming through.
But this is one thing you've seen here, Tom, is the fact of Nemesis taking the support player with them to the duo lane. It's not something we see too often at the moment with support starting in duo, but if you do, you can get wins on the left-hand side through that. So shutting down an Ullr a little bit earlier on, getting first blood over to a Jing way, it's going to help Zaxy out quite a bit.
Also, I mean, if you're looking for plays on a Mercury, getting kills early and often, assists as well, is certainly a nice look there. So Jumpah getting things started. Cyclone looking up, and that's going to be tough for them to kind of respond. But that's just at one side of the map. Obviously, you've got the first blood bounty, but I mean, this matchup in the solo lane could go well for Jabami.
Yeah, barring the first blood down to SpeedBufff, it wasn't doom and gloom from Cyclone's point of view. They knew the situation they were going to be into in the early game with how the start began, especially with the proxy farm. But they can't allow it to keep happening.
And here's number 2. He has the jump available, so that'll be a nice look. Almost would have preferred to see the stun come after the fact. Zaxy with the dive. mattkoiz is alive. The Nemesis after that, they go a high five.
You see, I get what SpeedBufff tried to do there. He took a step to try and avoid some of the basics, but in doing so outside of the safety of his own tower, he allowed the melee character Naja to still get some attacks off. If he would have done that inside of tower range, he would have taken some damage on the way through. It's just awkward, man. You're in a 2v1 on that lane. He needs some help, and he needs some help stat.
Very risky business coming out there. But you know what? I don't know. I don't feel bad for Cyclone. Like, when you go... red buff invaded successfully. I don't feel bad for their hunter. When you go camping and you leave all your food around, you're going to get attacked by bears. You name yourself SpeedBufff, the jungler's going to look for you every time.
What?
You gotta hang your food when you're camping so the bears don't attack you.
Wait, where's he camping? He was just trying to farm.
His name is SpeedBufff. The jungler wants to go get him.
Oh, that was the reference you were making. It's not really SpeedBufff. He's got an extra F. But here's another gank.
SpeedBufff.
Round 3.
And there's a sash in, jump away. Nice job there from the support, who's finally here. And I won't lament the choice of Beaudilla for not being here. That's a team decision. It's a team strategy to leave Hunter by their lonesome. But, I mean, since Beaudilla was here, that gank went differently.
But the main thing is Nemesis is controlling the pace of this game from the start so far. They're choosing where Cyclone have to go. And with the pressure onto SpeedBufff 2 times in a row, with him dying twice on Ullr, it immediately forces the Ganesha to have to come over, so Beaudilla has to support this lane. And that relieves the pressure that Cyclone were trying to develop onto this Baron Samedi solo lane by having the extra pressure there to get Bellona going. It's going to be a little bit lackluster and not even out as well as they were hoping now.
So because of that, a couple of kills going the way of Nemesis. Cyclone, a solid 1,000 gold down. That's going to be a little bit rough. Nickwood on the fancy man healer. It's been a while since we've seen the dandy show up.
It does depend on comps to whether you see a little bit out of the Baron or not. I don't think Baron's bad by any stretch of the imagination. I think the biggest thing with him, Tom, is the fact that with Baron, when he first came out, he was so potent and so strong and played everywhere that everyone kind of got, burnt out, I guess, to an extent with him and don't value him the same way because he has taken a couple of nerfs, even though he's very, very valuable in multiple roles still.
Yeah, he certainly has the application, or the potential is the word I'm looking for, to have that sort of application. Here, Nickwood looks for a kill, can't find it, so just does a little bit of a dance.
Not a worst-case scenario, that, especially because Jumpah is a Mercury, so lane ganks, Bellona can be susceptible if he's not got that Eagles rally available.
Jump or ult for sure. And now Jumpah can go over there and react. And
here.
Left side again.
It is a SpeedBufff, you were saying it, right?
SpeedBufff. But hey, where is it? Right there.
Have you been saying this joke all year?
What?
Because obviously I don't do much console on a Monday, so I've not been around so much. Have you made this joke about SpeedBufff in the Hunter role all these times?
No, I have not.
Or was it just reserved specially for me?
It's reserved just for me.
I appreciate that so much. No problem.
Beaudilla going to miss the dash, but Koiz won't miss his ultimate. Follow-up is there, and there's the classic wombo combo of days gone by.
YarBadKid finally falls down. Nickwood finds a little bit of sprinkle damage, and it's a jungle for a support. So mattkoiz is feeling good about that. All the way from the left to the right. Here comes Jumpah.
Only Hunter Bellona, no, not the greatest target. Would have liked to get Zeus if possible. Instead, it goes back to try and collapse onto that Bellona, and Jumpah will get credit for the kill. Good start from Nemesis so far, but we did see a bit of action out of Cyclone there. Susano getting that one kill is important for them.
I like that play coming out from Jumpah, just making sure to find the exact angle. It can be really easy to ult into a wall, and we will all laugh at you. We will all remember the time that we Merc ulted into a wall. It's something that you do in bronze. It's something that we see in the pro level. So really important that he nails that pull.
Beaudilla just can't get out of the range of the barrier in time. Jumpah gets credit for the kill again. This is good work for them on this right-hand side. This is just developed from the duo lane start that we saw.
All that early game pressure. One more time. mattkoiz is here. And SpeedBufff is in trouble. 7, there's the frenzy. The dive is underway. And ZachsyTDK. What is that? What is that TDK? At the end of his name, ZachsyTDK.
Oh.
You thought I was just creating another fantastic phrase?
Team Death Knights? I don't know.
You think Zaxy plays a death? No.
Maybe?
Zaxy's more a paladin boy.
Zaxy, the Death Knight.
Well, I think he's making fun of Jumpah. Jumpah and Keegs do the SZN, the season. It's like
Oh, is that what that means?
Yeah, so it's a reference to a Boogiewood hoodie. He's a rapper, and that's his name, and he has a record called Hoodie Season, and so SZN is what the fans. And so Jumpah and Keegs both do that, and maybe Zaxy over here is like, all right, well, if you're season,
Zaxy looks like someone who listens to country music, so maybe it's a country reference.
It could be.
Country singer reference, right?
Tar Nation down.
Tar Nation down.
Tar Nation down. Karate.
Karate. Okay.
I could not think of another word that began with K.
No. I guess
What does TDK stand for with respect to country music?
I don't know. I just said it, and then you just went on with it. I don't know why. Koiz, meanwhile, another sash onto Beaudilla into an ultimate, and guess what? Kovi's waiting with the ult!
And the Spirit of 9 wins shows up. Beaudilla in trouble, but YarBadKid pulls back Koiz. XCovi does get the last hit, but here it is. Jumpah and Zaxy to die, kid.
Yep. That's what he did to the SpeedBufff on cooldown so far. This, to be fair, SpeedBufff has died about as many times as a SpeedBufff normally does in the first 10 minutes of the game. Actually, no more than that, because he's got respawn time.
Yep.
Longer respawn time. Tier 1 going to go down here for Nemesis 2, and this is starting to get out of hand more than anything else because of the fact that multiple lanes are now struggling, and it's really played through mattkoiz's start with Zaxy, and then the supporting cast of Jumpah being everywhere and nowhere.
I've liked the look there. I really have liked the look of Nemesis. They found themselves $2,000, almost $2,500 gold, excuse me, $2,500 up. And so Cyclone are having a bit of trouble. And this is really where it gets scary, because it's not scary and it's just casually happening. When you lose a team fight and a Gold Fury and a tower and you're down 3,000, 4,000, you go, all right, well, I get it. When you've just kind of been playing your game and your hunter's getting farmed a little bit here and there, and then you look up and go, we're almost down 3K?
And that's the thing, from Cyclone's point of view, YarBadKid in the jungle position, he's even still with Jumpah for the most part, even ahead in levels at the moment. But his team are just falling, crumbling around him. It makes it so awkward because sometimes it makes it look like the jungler's at fault. It's not. It's just people losing their lane situations.
Well, see, that's also that. I'm glad that you said that because I think
you're a jungler, right? That always like basically comes to lane, gets killed, and then it's not your fault, right?
Well, no, it's the other side actually. How you can look good but be doing a poor job. Zaxy finds most of his basics here. Not a surprise. Zaxy has been accurate since picked up the sticks. But really, what it's been has been when you look at a jungler, they've got I like it. I like that.
I liked it if it was earlier. He kind of hesitated a little while longer of like, well,
that's
do I go here and there? Plus, to be fair to XCovi should be better with that aiming too. He should have hit that choke point for sure. It's big enough for the ult to hit the whole choke point. He got a little bit.
I give you that. I like the decision, but I give you that.
I'm a Cuckoo main, so I will criticize a little bit more than
you
some of the
are
time.
not.
I do play a lot of Cuckoo.
Do you really?
Yeah, I really do.
In support?
Yeah.
Jumpah finally goes down, but Kova answers back. Should be a 1-for-1, and it will be. Kobe gonna sit there, and I want to go back to the jungler conversation because I think it's very important. YarBadKid now 2-2-1, previously 2-1-1. You can have a good slash line and have a bad time as a jungler because jungle is less about amassing the points and more about making the decisions. If you are ganking solo lane 100 times and the opponent is 0-8, but your duo lane's getting farmed, you're doing the wrong thing.
Poor Beaudilla, man. All he wanted to do was farm up, he's not getting a chance to. That's 2 times in a row now he's eating the combo of both ultimates out of the mid and support position. mattkoiz is pretty much dictating the pace.
And so that's the issue here. The red buff going to go into a middle of the team fight. mattkoiz will get detonated on, but if he gets traded out for a couple of kills, a red buff, and a big old Mercury ult, he's going to be fine with that. Jumpah misses 1, Jumpah misses 2, Jumpah misses 3, and XCovi here to fill it up, but XCovi will miss 4, and YarBadKid just saying what he's saying.
Respect Jumpah for the amount of shots he's trying to take with these ultimates, though. He's looking for the highlight reel shots every time with like with at least 2 or 3 players. Only really finding 1 most of the time, however.
He's got a little bit of a lead, and he's utilizing that lead. And a final end cap on what I'm saying is SpeedBufff got farmed in the lane. Beaudilla's getting farmed as he makes his way to the lane. YarBadKid should be near that spot. He's getting kills and assists across the map. Totally cool, and that's well and good, but none of them matter until this kill on a Jumpah, and he doesn't even get it. So that's what I mean by your slash line can be deceptive. Your 2 kills, your 2 assists didn't affect the game the way across the way Jumpah's 2 kills, 4 assists affected the game. And because you're not actually doing anything, you're not actually doing anything. So you come out with this fantastic slash line, but it's a team game. You're going to have all the MVP reels. You're going to have all the fancy highlight reels, but you're going to wind up with the L in the loss column because the opponent is making the effective plays where they matter, whereas YarBadKid is making effective plays where they don't.
Okay. You went really New York through that whole bit, by the way, and there was so many, like...
Did I really?
Yeah, there was so many, like, colloquialisms that came out there where I'm like, okay. The 2 started to change as time went on into whatever New Yorkers say. I can't do it. Someone, there you go, 2.
Well, it's the mentality, because you see this a lot of times, and I'm lower ranked, and you see this a lot of times, that mentality in Twitch chat and in Mixer chat, and then, you know, when you're looking at streams and stuff.
Listen,
people just talking about like, well, you know, he's 3-0, but those 3 kills don't affect the game.
If you lose, you're bad. That's all you need to know. That's what chat knows, and it's always been the same. It doesn't matter if you won 2 world championships. You lose your next game, you're bad. It's just the way it is.
That's really good analysis from. I'm just kidding. Please don't come for my life.
I wasn't going to be like that. I'm just acting exactly as most people see the game.
The winners will win.
The winners will win. The losers will lose.
It's the most Game of Thrones nonsense I've ever heard any.
What do you always say? If I predicted them right, everyone's like, oh my god, you write the script. If I'm wrong, you're like, oh my god, he doesn't know anything. So you just say, the winners will win, and I'm safe.
The winners will win.
SpeedBufff.
It just sounds like a...
I don't see this going very well for Cyclone as the game goes on, though. The level difference is getting out of control. It's a 5-level difference now between Zaxy and SpeedBufff.
I mean...
And SpeedBufff, honestly, he may need to just... I would have maybe liked to have seen him go to the solo lane.
Yes.
And send JabamiChip to the duo instead. Because he's got a tower, and he can just sit under it and farm.
I don't mean this disrespectfully. I'm done casting SpeedBufff. Beaudilla I'll still work with, even though this has happened every single episode. But SpeedBufff has been 0-5. He's got no help from his jungler. He's got no help from his support. But see, that's the thing, and that's why I give Beaudilla the credit, as we get a cleanup on the right side as well. YarBadKid can't get the double kill here. He's 2 levels down on Nickwood. It's going to be troublesome. Every time Beaudilla rotates to help SpeedBufff, he gets killed by that XCovi combo.
Beaudilla's not against a good composition to pick a Ganesha, unfortunately.
He's making an attempt where SpeedBufff is just dying.
Yeah, and the one thing you're looking at it from Nemesis' point of view, like if you look at the characters that Beaudilla's looking to cause problems for here with a Ganesh pick, well, Jumpah can remove slows, so can Kukulkan, so the Dharmic Pillars aren't going to do a whole lot of good in some of those situations.
No, they're not. They're going to just wind up a little bit sour.
Book of Toth, though, for Kobe. No real surprise to see that. This is one of the reasons we don't see so much Kukulkan at the moment. And I think that's because the blue book build, so to speak,
Sure.
is kind of swayed away a little bit more so as people are focused more towards the pen. And you definitely want Book of Toth on Kukulkan, but he did take a bit of a nerf, in fairness, when that book got changed. It was an indirect nerf, so to speak, because of the way Kukulkan's passive works.
I
But
mean,
his job
yes
in
and no.
fights is
Yes
great.
and no. The thing is, Kukulkan is one of the characters that dodged that nerf a lot because you're buying mana to work with that passive. It's the characters that just bought it by itself that kind of took the big hit. So Kukulkan, though, this is the ideal. You might not like it, but this is the ideal mage body right here.
Yeah, for the most part, he looks like he's probably going to head towards the Gem of Isolation next as well, which is a standard sort of build. Which,
Sure.
This, the CC chain's really good. The one thing I would have liked to have seen, which maybe we can see in Game 2 if they do run it back, is whether he maxed the Zephyr first of all or not. Max the Spit, so to speak.
Oh, right.
Because the Spit is what a lot of people are starting to use a little bit more on Kukulkan because it's easy to confirm
Over the
damage.
NATO?
Yeah.
No way.
No, people have been doing it. You only need 2 points in NATO to clear the wave, Tom.
That's crazy. NATO does so much damage. Right side, big push coming out from Nemesis. A good knockup onto
Aegis.
Xcovi. And this is a great entrance from Cyclone, but Xcovi finds it with the big boy dragon. The double kill for Xcovi as Jumpah cleans one up as well. A 3-4-1. Scratch that, Hindu man. What is it?
Still
didn't
3
work
for
out.
1?
And what is it?
Oh, 4 for 1.
There it is. I wish you guys could see that thumbs up Hindu just gave me, just like, we did it.
You know the classic thing of like, this is guaranteed, and I'm like, oh no, we're casters, that doesn't
I thought,
But look at what happened in that fight there. Cyclone group up, they recognize that Kovi's an issue and he's susceptible because he's too close to them. They try and all in Kovi, but in doing so, the rest of the team are just left alone, and they're so far ahead at this point that they're doing a great job. Now it's going to be a fire giant on this right-hand side too. It's 17 minutes.
Yep.
And Jumpah's got 4 stacks on a Rage, working towards, well, pretty much a finished Deathbringer almost at this point.
Insane. From one objective to the other. Nemesis, the team. Not the
I'm glad, Brad, I was going to say, I'm really glad Doug brought up that. I'm sorry, put it back, Doug. I'm sorry, Doug, forgive me.
He's like putting
Doug.
it away.
No, he did.
No.
But
No.
Notice Zephyr there, 75%
Sure.
on that spit as well in terms of scaling. Not only that, 240 base. It's pretty good to hit, but only at 50% slow. That's a lot of slow. That's one of the biggest slows in the game.
That is Jumpah looking for the mage you look. Comes up now. Gets the kill. 3 kills without a death. Zaxy contributes to help. And the Zeus falls down. Nice and easy. Whirlwind.
15%, see?
Yeah, that's
The
crazy.
problem with Whirlwind is you have to initially put it down on the ground and then have somebody inside it, and it's not always easy to aim.
Whirlwind, though, ticks for... Oh, no, I don't have the math. 2.5 seconds.
Yes.
15,
Something like that.
30, 45,
It's a ton of damage, but it's trying to get people
60.
in
So
that.
65% scaling.
But if you land your spit, you're guaranteed to confirm your Whirlwind
Yes.
anyway.
Yes.
However, the spit is AoE,
Yep.
slows,
Yep.
and does a ton of damage.
Yep.
Why would you not max that? It's making more sense to me to see this more and more. I personally am not a fan because I like just dropping tornadoes and walking away real quick, but it's a great combo.
It's interesting. It's certainly worth talking about.
I don't even know if Kobe did that this game, actually. He may have just maxed tornado.
Good
We
enough.
may find out next time.
This is one of those games, and I... the finer points might not matter.
No. But
You
we can still talk about the
No,
god
no,
in
no,
general.
right, for sure. Meaning that, Xcovi, if let's say that is the most efficient way to do it, Xcovi could have just ham-fisted his way. All he has to do is go, all right, Koiz, when are you coming down? 4.
That is not how you land a Kukulkan ult off a Najong.
Yo, Koiz!
Have you hit one of those?
Never.
Okay, that's why, because you're asking your jungler, hey, when
No.
are you finished with that ult, by the way?
Actually, this is something that Aggro brought up on a stream of his lately, and I want to bring it up to the pre-communication is of the utmost importance.
You mean, hey, I've got my ultimate ult, I'm going to engage in a second, be
Yes.
ready for it, I'm going to blink in and cataclysm.
Exactly, and
And then
that's
the rest of the team can be prepared. right?
exactly. So they're not saying, okay, I'm looking for it, I'm going in 3, 2, 1, ult. That might happen, but most of the time it's, I have ult, I'm going to look at him when I get the chance, And then that's when Xcovi has to go, okay, I got it, and just be ready. Communication before the fact is much... Oh, okay.
Oh, they're both looking for the pickups. They're
much
really
more
trying
important than after.
They're trying to bully SpeedBufff even more, man. He's already 0-7, and they're like, all right, maybe we can kill him again.
Yeah.
Let's look for him again.
Over and over and over again. Like, what was that? Nelly and Tim McGraw?
I don't even know what you're referencing.
Rap music and country music. The world where Hindu doesn't get it. But the world where Cyclone gets it. All in right here. I love that, Zeus. And Xcovi,
Okay, Xcovi.
from a distance, takes down the hunter.
And he's still alive.
That's absurd.
I
That's
don't know
obscene.
how long he'll be alive for. As Jamba's going to keep the chase going. He wants Xcovi dead.
He's not turning
Will be
around.
a second death. Scourge is all it requires. Got him.
He didn't have Slither.
I've got to give Xcovi credit, though, because that max range Spirit of the Night.
How about that max range Merkle all the way up the mid lane, giving Jumpah the Quadramine, and we're walking into the Titan.
And that's just as quick as he was. Honestly, after the 10-minute mark, Tom, this was kind of writing on the wall for Nemesis here. They'd already taken it down, and that was down to the start. I'd like to see Cyclone in game 2.
All right,
Look
boys.
at what Nemesis are going to choose to do in terms of the start and maybe make some adjustments. They can't leave SpeedBufff on an island there. If they do, SpeedBufff needs to play something a little bit more defensive.
SpeedBufff dies in the fountain. 21 like Blackjack, 28 like...
Your age?
Yes.
I was being kind. See?
Thanks.
He's 47.
Oof. All right, well, from
You're
one
lucky.
60-year-old to another, we can talk about how fantastic Jumpah looked like in this game.
Jumper looked great overall, but really for me, it was Xcovi that played very well, but also mattkoiz. I think mattkoiz's start at the beginning of the game, the frenzy selection and the pressure with the consistent ults to set up Xcovi was the real telling point. It allowed Jumper to just do whatever he wanted.
Exactly. I'm celebrating Jumpah, but I think you're right. mattkoiz was the one kind of opened the door for this one, and so we will open the door for John Finch and Anatoly.
And I will walk through it. Thanks, Tom, for being chivalrous and opening the door for us. I appreciate that one. And
I hate it when they hold the door for me.
I do slightly hate that, actually, yes. But I don't like to... I shouldn't make a big deal about it. This game, though, that just happened is one we can make a big deal out of. In that it was a very easy win for Nemesis. At least it looked that way on paper. They had pressure in dual lane the entire game. I mean, SpeedBufff, who I think is subbing in for them in this game, I think that they weren't able to have Overgrown, who was at least listed on the roster for them. So I think maybe that's what happened. SpeedBufff had to step in. But either way, he had a rough time of it here in this game.
21 minutes into the game, you would want that kind of early pressure with the Naja support. mattkoiz really opening the door, the window, the success for Zaxy on the Jing way to go 9-0-7 at the end of that game.
Had a really good game, and you kind of heard Tom talking about it throughout the game. F-Dot, or whatever is the way he prefers me to refer to him. But I mean, he never got any help from YarBadKid really in that lane. Yeah. And at a certain point, I don't know what help he could have gotten. YarBadKid wasn't exactly in the best spot to be giving away charity in that game either. I really thought that there was some pressure from Jump over there earlier. They like 3-man ganked at the very beginning. This is exactly that play that we're talking about, where all three of them were here, and they never let up on that pressure from that first minute. They established it for Zaxy there, and they kept it up the rest of the game.
That's the start where you do the speed to red buff to purple, Jumpah ganking the dual lane at the 1 minute mark, getting level 2 off of one purple minion, was able to make that gank so successful. And JoeFromTheGym on the Zeus just did not have a good time.
His mind was still in the workout, man.
Probably.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Maybe he didn't take his pre-workout or whatever it is.
He did not take his BCAAs.
Nah, clearly I'm out of my element here trying to follow you down this road. The Baron over in the Soul Lane I thought might end up being a bigger storyline. He held his own for whatever it's worth, but to be fair, when Jumpah, Xcovi, mattkoiz, and Zaxy are making as much noise as they did elsewhere, the Baron was really just the icing on the cake in that game. He did not end up being needed much just because of how well things are going elsewhere.
And he didn't even struggle before picking up the Breastplate of Valor, holding on to his own, having Guardian's Blessing stacked up completely before the 5 minute mark, utilizing that extra gold per minute very safely. Xcovi had a really good game as well with some of those Spirit of the Nine win ultimates.
He had some synergy with mattkoiz right from the beginning of the game. mattkoiz to take him up, Xcovi to have the ultimate waiting on him when they came down. Even the tornado there as well, I think that critically cleaned up a kill for them early on in the game where the ult wasn't quite enough, but that tick damage did it. So clearly this is a composition they put a good amount of thought into, and that he can get this ball rolling early with it. I mean, you saw Jumpah, he was taking big shots the whole game with those sonic booms, and when they hit, they were devastating.
And they look pretty. That one specifically that went through the the totem of Ku into the soul lane, that one was really cool. Seeing the diagonal one, and Joe from the gym on the Zeus picked it too early in the draft in game number 1.
That's a good point.
I don't mind the Zeus necessarily, but it has to fit in the right composition. It worked with the Ganesha for Luminosity Gaming, didn't work for Cyclone here today.
And it's not even just your own composition. It's what do they have,
Yeah.
right? When you pick them, the other team is like, okay, well, let's just pick the most aggressive stuff we can from here on and pressure that Zeus out. It's exactly what they ended up doing.